Il aurait pu trouver un partenaire un petit peu plus tôt, mais l'essentiel est de conserver cette balle. Et ça marque tout de même. La frappe.
This video is sponsored by KlipDraw, a software that we use to edit our videos. If you're interested in using this software too, please see the description below for affiliate links. Not fit for a big club, or a baby right card that's gone under the radar, just how good is Boubacar Kamara?
It's a misplaced ball in by Dembele.
In terms of defending, Kamara is not a Declan Rice. He's not someone who's going to be an aggressive ball winner. He's still above average in this regard, don't get me wrong, but what I like about him is his positional play. He's someone who understands the defensive game very well. Perhaps it's his experience as a centre-back here. He decides to not remain zonal and follow his man. That's fine. I mean, with Tchouaméni, what we saw was someone who's constantly hunting for the ball, which is fine as well. That's his own style of play. But as a CDM, single pivot, you want someone who's able to hold that position well, intercept through just being at the right place at the right time, as well as picking and choosing moments when to be a bit more aggressive. And what I like about him is he's not reckless in terms of his tackling. He uses intelligence to win the ball cleanly.
Brazil can get their defence right. They've got good players back in there, Marquinhos.
In possession, Kamara is a genuine deep-lying playmaker. He's someone the likes of Manchester United have cried out for. He is a little baby Busquets in the way that he picks up the ball from the defence, and he's the first port of call in terms of being the playmaker, the conduit from defence into midfield. Great dialogue with the midfielders in front of him, very nimble, calm under pressure, always head up and looking for a pass whilst carrying the ball. So he's someone who's tailor-made for the Champions League in my opinion. He can be a bit over-arrogant on the ball, and that can lead to dangerous situations. For someone so calm on the ball, could Kamara play further afield in the midfield, perhaps as a box-to-box midfielder or a regista? Well, he doesn't really have many assists in his locker, but he is someone who's calm and composed in the final third. So I would anticipate him getting more assists as his career progresses. Remember, he started off as a centre-back and he's playing as a single pivot CDM, so the chances of him registering a high number of assists has been quite low, but he's quite complete. He's someone who can cross it, he can hit a through ball, he can run with the ball. So there's no reason why he can't have an impact in terms of laying on goals for others. In terms of Kamara's long passing, his stats don't quite match up to the elite just yet in terms of accuracy numbers, but what I would say is that he is someone who has a brilliant technique in the way that he strikes the ball. And that suggests to me that if it's harnessed correctly, it could be a huge facet of his game at the elite level, and I would expect those accuracy numbers to go higher, perhaps even into the 70% percentile. I mean, I love the way it's effortless. It's the right weight, it's the right pace. The only criticism at the moment is sometimes he overhits the ball. He's a bit overconfident. But again, higher the level that he plays at, this will be coached out of him. In terms of his dribbling, Kamara is not going to powerfully break through lines like a Declan Rice, but I think he's more press resistant in tight areas. That's not quite reflected in the stats, but based on the eye test, he looks pretty nimble. I'd fancy him more than a Douglas Luiz or a Calvin Phillips in these type of tight situations. Very composed in possession. Does he have the footwork of a Busquets? Could he handle playing for a Barcelona? I wouldn't bracket him in the Busquets region in terms of his footwork, but what I would say is he glides into space very well. He can spot gaps and do it well. He can be overconfident, and at the moment his judgment isn't quite there of when to dribble, when not to. In terms of Kamara's heading, he's a former centre-back, so you'd expect him to be more influential than a Luiz or a Phillips in this regard. Yet his numbers suggest he isn't quite as impactful as a Declan Rice, a Tchouaméni, a Fabinho. And that's slightly concerning because at the higher level, you are heavily reliant on your CDMs and your centre-backs to be better than the rest of the league in the aerial duels, just because the rest of the team is more technically minded. He can compete in the air, but I wouldn't say he's dominant doesn't make his presence felt. In terms of goal threat, Kamara, in terms of stats, it's pitiful. He doesn't really have any impact in front of goal. And that can be explained by the fact that he was a centre-back and then a single pivot CDM, so he didn't get forward much. But it's a surprise because when you watch him on the eye test, he looks like someone who's got good ball hitting technique. We spoke about his long passing, so he's definitely a technician. So it could be a case of his shots just getting constantly blocked, so his decision making as to when to shoot isn't great. But I'd expect a player of his overall caliber to at least chip in maybe 3 to 5 goals a season. Tactically, Kamara will take up the position that Stephen Davis did at Rangers, that DLP/CDM position. He'll be the first port of call in terms of picking the ball up from the centre-backs and connecting the dots with the box-to-box midfielders or the number 10s in front of him, whether that's in a 4-3-2-1 or a 4-4-2 diamond. He's someone who is a definite upgrade on Douglas Luiz. You know, Villa will 100% get a bargain out of Kamara. As to his future, he's someone who should have been signed by Manchester United, in my opinion, for the price that he was available at. He's a genuine upgrade to Fred and McTominay, you know, in terms of he can actually play the CDM position, he can actually play make from that position, and he can protect the defence with his positional play. Is he as talented as a Busquets? No. I don't see him hitting the heights of a generational CDM. So the baby Rijkaard tag is perhaps inappropriate, but he is a very, very competent CDM and someone who I could definitely envisage playing in the Champions League in the future and perhaps playing for a big team. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed that video. Please like, share and subscribe, and see you guys again next time. Bye.